being able to connect with yourself and be able to cultivate this mental space where you find a pause and you're kind of dancing on the edge of discomfort. It's been very beneficial because with anything, with most things, the discomfort is temporary. It does not last forever. You just have to breathe and just find that pause and know that what you're going through, it's temporary.
Thank you, Katie, for joining me again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I think it's so important that we unpack a confidence journey because it's different for everybody, isn't it?
Right.
And
yes, it's very personal.
And sometimes we hear people's stories and go, oh, they're just confident. And, people would have assumed that you're just confident. You have this, lovely demeanor. You come across confident. And obviously you have grown a lot as you've been going through different work experiences and life experiences and your, life-changing experience of having an accident and Andy's cancer journey. So if people haven't heard part one of this conversation, it's totally worth going back to get some context around this amazing individual who's 12 months now into a journey of 25 different countries.
Yes.
Currently.
Yes. What a journey it has been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Waiting at the storm in Vietnam right now. So if there's a trauma of some sort, then people go, oh, yeah, it's like if people know your story, isn't it? That they make assumptions about your confidence and whether it's an appropriate level of confidence or whatever, which is kind of funny. We won't go down the pathway of assumptions people make. We have to manage our own, don't we?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Have you noticed that you've made assumptions about people in your journey of becoming confident or those moments of feeling inadequate? Did you make assumptions about other people?
Oh my gosh, yes. Friends or colleagues, especially if they say get up and give just a really awesome presentation at work or, speaking at conferences or things like that, talking to them or being able to have kind of a little more candid knowledge or knowing that they're going into this and they're feeling nervous about it or they don't think that they deserve to be doing this, and then getting up and just seeing them absolutely slay something like that. It's fun to kind of see the wizard behind the screen a little bit and be able to have those conversations of, wait, you were nervous? You knocked it out of the park. What are you talking about? That was really awesome.
Yeah. So have you had that feedback too, where you've been nervous before presenting?
Definitely. So before we left to come on this world travel, I was a yoga instructor and I taught for a full year before we left. And there were times going into that maybe I wasn't in the right headspace or I wasn't feeling really confident about the flow or the sequence that I had built for that class, and I was kind of unsure and unsteady. And then the feedback that I got after sometimes would be like, wow, that was really great. I really loved this particular part. And I thought, oh, thank God, because I just thought that I was floundering up there. And in a space like that, you don't really have anywhere to hide. Yeah.
You're in front of the class and we're all following directions.
Yes. Yeah. And more than once I would get lost, forget what direction I was going in, what posture was next, what body part I was forgetting to cue, who knows what it was. More than once I would get lost. And there's that moment of panic where your brain just kind of freezes.
Yeah.
But there's no way to go. You just have to lean into it and just do something. You can't just sit there in complete panicked silence. You have a room full of people that are awaiting your direction. So just pick something and move with it.
Yeah. And we forget sometimes that all our thinking is not on display. People are just following you, doing what you're doing. And if you pause for a moment, we're just going to pause and catch our breath.
Yes. Yeah. Especially in a lot of moments like that, people were totally fine if you take a couple seconds to recollect your thoughts. They're just going to breathe and catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. So where else in life do you see this playing out, the internal panic and where do I go from here?
Ooh, well, being on the other side of the world during a global pandemic, trying to navigate visa renewals and travel restrictions and things like that has been pretty big. There for really, honestly, probably a couple of weeks, I just felt mentally frozen. Like I did not know the next decision to figure out. I did not have the mental bandwidth to try to figure out anything, really, I feel.
So it's
um,
like being stuck in downward dog pose and going, where do I go
yeah,
from here? And this is getting
yes,
uncomfortable.
yes. To kind of tie the yoga journey back into it, maintaining a practice and being able to connect with yourself and be able to cultivate this mental space where you find a pause and you're kind of dancing on the edge of discomfort.
Mm.
It's been very beneficial because with anything, with most things, the discomfort is temporary. It does
Mm.
not last forever.
Mm.
You just have to breathe and just find that pause and know that what you're going through, it's temporary. Just
Yeah,
breathe, take any lessons from it if you can, and then be able to let it go.
that's really powerful. I guess yoga is like a great, or any physical, exercise where you are very aware of your body. It's so helpful for being aware of yourself, isn't it? And it
Yes.
helps you tap into how am I actually feeling today? And,
Yes.
I think
Very, very much.
we don't have that awareness so much when we're younger. We just like push through, hustle. And you use this phrase, fake it till you make it. So how does that feel?
Um, the phrase "fake it till you make it" in the work environment was first introduced to me when I was bartending, and we would show up and have whatever experience of what was happening outside of work. You bring that in with you. Whatever, you're in a funk, you don't really feel like being there that day, but guess what? It's a football weekend, North American football weekend in a college town. You've got to fake it till you make it. You've got to leave whatever else at the door, and you need to be here, and you need to bring the energy, and again, just fake it till you make it. And more often than not, it would take just maybe 30 minutes for me to get into that headspace
Yeah.
and be able to leave everything else outside. And more often than not, I feel like the environment changed me. I didn't really have to do
Yeah.
anything. I just had to stop and just allow whatever it was to kind of pick me up and carry me with it. So I think that's kind of utilizing that saying in that way is what helped me more often.
Yeah.
And with running or cultivating a challenging yoga practice, you just kind of show up. Showing up is so often the hardest part.
Yeah.
Lacing up your shoes and getting out the door to go for a run is the hardest part of going for a run in a lot of cases. Showing up on your mat for practice is the hardest part. Even if you sit there in child's pose or take corpse pose the whole time, the fact that you showed up for yourself is the thing itself.
Yeah. Because once you get there, it's like this moment of honesty with yourself. You give yourself that opportunity. And it really comes down to the choice, doesn't it? It's like choosing to show up. I mean, I think it's dangerous when we use the language fake it till you make it, because I find that we use that phrase less often now, don't we? Or it means something different now, like because we just want authenticity, don't we? But there is that sense of like when you're trying to be successful at something, you just go, I've just got to fake it. But we're so uncomfortable when we're faking it.
Yeah.
But when we make that choice, I'm choosing to leave behind the stresses of the day, and I'm going to show up and be encouraging, supportive. I'm going to celebrate with the team, or whatever it is that we're choosing. Yeah. We're choosing that new way of thinking.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your journey of confidence and how you've connected with yourself and others from a place of authenticity. Because it shines through you, that authenticity. It just, that's why it was kind of funny when you said fake it till you make it, because I'm like, yeah, I just see you as such an authentic person.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea when I say fake it till you make it, because especially now, there's such a focus on mental health and boundaries and so many important things that no, you definitely should not have to be faking that. You do need to be honest, and you need to be able to set boundaries for yourself, communicate things that you're just not okay with. So fake it till you make it is not a just broad catch all for just live life this way and everything will be okay. You definitely need to be able to connect with yourself and be able to evaluate, is this how I want to be? Does this feel real and authentic and good? So yes, I think in 2020 we should probably crumple up and throw away the fake it till you make it. It is not for all situations. Sometimes yes, but it is not for all situations. So I think, oh gosh, I think the yoga journey has been really helpful. Honestly, I would say becoming a teacher and going through that training was just as beneficial to me and my growth in becoming more confident in myself and just more comfortable with who I am as the practice itself. The physical practice of it is only a small part of yoga itself. So when I went through teacher training, I had done some public speaking with my job, training groups, speaking at small conferences, things like that. So I was speaking about things that I knew about and that I was very passionate about. So that kind of made it easy to speak about them.
Yes.
But as far as connecting with my voice and becoming comfortable with that was an eye-opening part of my yoga teacher training.
Yeah.
Because one of the homework assignments was, okay, you're going to design your flow for class. Your flow is kind of the sequence of movements, cues for, the postures and body parts, and verbal cues for where you should be feeling these certain sensations and things like that. So we had to learn how to be succinct with our cues, because it would be like if you're listening to your Google Maps and they're like, yeah, you're going to see a stop sign up here and you're going to arrive at the stop sign and then you're going to look left and then you're going to look, and just this, no one wants to hear that when you're listening to Google Maps. I would throw my phone out the window.
Yeah.
So learning how to be more succinct with things like that, and learning how to have a more confident and authoritative tone, because that's kind of the other thing. If your Google Maps was just kind of ask, maybe turn left, you would not be confident in it to get you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
So those things made me much more aware of my voice and how I was speaking, and how, no one wants to be told that, yeah, I heard what you were saying, but you don't really sound like you know what you're talking about. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
So I became much more aware, and we would get peer feedback. And sometimes that peer feedback would not be comfortable to hear because, it's coming from a constructive place, but no one wants to hear, oh, you don't sound very knowledgeable, or you sound meek, you sound very quiet, or things like that. So I became, for several weeks, I was listening to the news in my car every day on the way home, and I would hear different anchors and kind of have this internal evaluation of, oh yeah, they sound really good. I like how they speak about this thing, or the way that they sound when they do this. Just becoming more aware of your own voice and how you speak about things.
Yes.
It made me more confident. And one of the exercises for my teacher training that was really and truly, one of the most intimidating parts of it was we had to record ourselves teaching a certain sequence
Yes.
with the cues and the postures and things like that. We could film it anywhere. It's just a voice memo. People were hiding in their closets or going, you know, their roommates or their partners or whoever would find them in there curled up in a corner in the closet talking and think, what are they doing? Have they lost it? What's going on? But we're all just so afraid. We're so self-conscious of it.
Yeah.
So we would record these voice memos and then play them in the class. It just felt like the most vulnerable, revealing exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I may as well have been standing in front of the room in my underwear. It felt so vulnerable and revealing. But hearing that feedback and getting that constructive criticism was so valuable.
Yeah.
And then I found when I went through that, because also part of learning to teach in a setting like that is making sure that your posture is up and open, that you're projecting, that you're not just speaking down. You have a room full of people, they need to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure this is all basic public speaking 101, but I found when I was doing it in this setting that I was becoming more confident in my ability to speak up in work meetings or to, you know, lead trainings or things like that, and being able to project more and speak more clearly. So it was a total game changer.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because I think it's great to learn from different angles. So you could just go and do a public speaking course, but to do a yoga instructor's course or to do some theater classes, to do some improvisation classes, anything that gets you feeling awkward, that has you feeling, you know, like exposed, vulnerable, putting your little offering out into the world in a supportive environment. So there's so many different kinds of classes that we could do to develop our confidence. You know, and there's Toastmasters and there's all the drama classes and all kinds of things, and getting a webinars and having something to say, you know, because webinars is a very common thing.
Yes, especially now.
So, you know, being one of the ones who puts the hand up and asks the question and interacts, even if you feel, and I would say especially if you feel that you are inadequate or somebody else is going to do it better, that's the time when you feel nervous and feel like I can't do this. That's the time to push yourself and go, okay, what if I just do? What if I say something? What if I ask a question? Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's always so much worse for ourselves than everybody else who hears it, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes, always. Always. And the teacher training cohort that I was with, they were so supportive, and we were with each other so much that by the end of it, we were family. It was a safe space, and we could give each other that feedback, and it was truly constructive. So that definitely helps. They're all going through the same thing. Oh shoot, I forgot the name of this posture, or I completely got lost in the middle of my class or whatever. You know, we've all been there. We've all done that. Yeah. You know, you did great on this other thing though. You'll crush it next time. Not a big deal. So finding a group like that challenges you but is still very supportive of you and can offer critiques and encouragement, that definitely helps.
Yeah, that's cool. So this, you know, self-awareness and confidence that was growing because of your work and because of your yoga instructing. When you spent the past year traveling and connecting with other people, can you just share a few thoughts about how maybe along the way you've been more connected with yourself and connecting with others?
Oh yeah. Because we've spent so much time on this journey, and I won't get too into it here, but on this journey we have done 2 pilgrimages where you're just walking a lot all day, every day. Yeah. You're left with your thoughts a lot, and for some people that is a very terrifying place to be. Yeah. But it's one of those challenging spaces that I like to lean into to figure out, you know, just to kind of check in with yourself. There have been several times that have been definitely challenging, physically, mentally, I think, how am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Am I in physical pain? Is it because I'm hungry? Is it because I'm bored? Is it because, whatever the case may be? So I think leaning into those moments and exploring a little bit more about, why do I feel this way? What's going on in my environment? Just kind of taking kind of a whole 360 snapshot of what's going on. A lot of times we like to just kind of power through things and muscle through them and just fix it in a hurry so that you don't have to feel these things, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, and you just want to muscle it down and change it so that you don't have to feel these things anymore. But in some of these really challenging situations when we've been traveling, you just have to lean in and you just have to surrender to the difficulty of it to get through it. You can't muscle your way through. You're going to burn up a lot of energy and you're going to be exhausted, and it's still not going to end how the way that you need it to end. But surrendering to the difficulty in that moment and realizing, this is not ideal, but I'm just going to keep going, and I just have to trust that it's going to be okay, and it's going to work out the way that I need to. And I think that the word surrender, I think in Western cultures especially, is seen as defeat, and it's seen as failure and giving up. And that's not at all it. When you can surrender to something, you recognize, okay, I'm recognizing that this is difficult, but I'm going to lean in and I'm going to get through it. It won't last forever. And I'm just going to put my head down and keep plodding along. I'm going to use my resources as best I can, but there's no muscling through this and powering through this. I'm just going to lean in and keep going on my way.
Yeah, beautiful. So what do you think are the benefits on the other side of that surrender, rather than fighting your way through, but surrendering to, and that self-awareness of, okay, this is actually where I'm at right now?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a lot of personal growth and realizing what you're capable of outside of that big energy of like fighting something off. You kind of tap into other skills that you may have, other ways of handling situations. I guess to give some context so that this isn't all completely abstract, some of the early moments of this trip when we were on these pilgrimages and we're walking anywhere from 15 to maybe 25 kilometers. I'm trying to think in kilometers and not miles, and it's kind of challenging me right now because I haven't had to do that. So we'll say between 10 and 15 miles per day. It gets boring really quickly, and it's just made up of a bunch of small steps. So what do you need to do to get through that? Because there's no other way to get through it. You have to keep moving forward. So kind of finding a mental space to get into. Is it noticing the landscape where you are? Or is it finding a rhythm with your breath or with your footsteps, or doing something like that, so that you're not just sitting there going constantly, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because you'll drive yourself and whoever you're walking with insane.
Yeah. So when you start noticing your breath or your cadence, your surroundings, how does that shift the experience for you?
You just find more things to enjoy. I don't know. I think it's probably different for different people. I know a lot of people really struggle, and it can be really traumatic for people to kind of be with their thoughts.
Yeah.
That's not always a safe space for people to be in, but just kind of, I don't know. I find a lot of enjoyment in solitude and being able to kind of reflect on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not real fun if you're caught up on bad memories or embarrassing things that happened or things like that. But I think there's just a lot of value in being in that moment.
Yeah. And it's so true. For some people, it's traumatic to be listening to your own thoughts. And so we need then to talk to somebody rather than just shut it down, keep yourself busy. And I think now when we are not going anywhere, stuff can come up for people.
Yes.
And yeah, it's so important that we do the work, but we don't have to do it alone.
Yes.
There's so many, helplines we can call, forums that we can get into and start processing, because those things don't go away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think that's part of the value too, is being able to kind of recognize those things and flag them, archive them, do whatever you need to be able to recognize, like, okay, this is something that I need to deal with. This is something that I need help addressing. This is something that I need to tear down or build up, whatever it is you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I heard an extraordinary woman from India speaking on a webinar the other day. She's a lieutenant governor of Puducherry in India, Kiran Bedi. Yeah, she talked about, a season of deconstruction and reconstruction, and we do not like deconstruction.
No.
Unless you're going in and pulling your kitchen apart because you're going to put in a new one, that's exciting. But if we feel like our lives are deconstructing and the things are falling apart and memories are coming up that we don't want to address, like it's an opportunity to go, right, maybe it's time to work through these things. But we can't do it all at once, and we can't do it on our own. So, I just want to encourage, if you're listening and thinking, oh no, this is me, this is uncomfortable, please find someone to talk things through with.
Yes.
Because on the other side, we can enjoy the journey of life more, as you've said, Katie. Once you take the focus off the foot pain when you're like walking and walking and walking and walking.
Yes.
To go, okay, I'm gonna deal with this, but right now I'm gonna look at the scenery. I'm gonna appreciate. I've been listening to a song called Alive and Breathing, and it's just, there's so much to be grateful for when we just come back to our breath. It's like, I'm alive. I have this day is a gift. Yeah. So we have the opportunity to shift our thinking when we are aware of our thinking.
Yes. Yeah. I think the key is becoming aware and thinking, kind of taking that mental inventory of what are some things here that I like and I want to keep and promote healthy growth, and what are some things that are not beneficial? What are some things that I need to let go of? Yeah,
it's a good time for decluttering mentally.
Yes.
Or I know a lot of people have been talking about decluttering and sort the office out because you're in it every day.
Yes.
Declutter.
Yes.
You're with yourself, so work through those things, because there is a more confident you on the other side, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. It is uncomfortable. It can be messy, but it is so worth it. Keep at it and know that you're not alone. There are so many people who would love to help you through it and who are very capable and who can help you through that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Katie. And, we've seen so much attention paid to connection now, where the way we connect has changed, but it hasn't taken away our desire to connect, and it's kind of shown it up more, hasn't it?
Yes. We've been on this journey for 12 months. We've been away from family and friends and our community, and my mother-in-law, Andy's mom, has been able to meet up with us a couple different points in this trip, and she even brought his dad over to surprise him. And it has been so wonderful having those moments to see someone face to face. But now that we're in a pandemic and so much connection is shut down, it was so interesting to see how much more isolated from our friends and family and community we felt when that started. I mean, we would talk to our friends and family on the phone, every so often, we text and things like that. But then once the quarantine really went into full effect, it just felt different. We were still in the same exact place, across the globe from all of our people, but suddenly those connections felt more important.
Yeah.
And so I was really lucky. My home yoga studio started offering classes through Zoom. So I was able to connect with them and see them, for the first time since we left. And that just had such a profound effect. Again, we've been away from these people this whole time. But suddenly when that ability to connect in person shut down, it felt different. There was a marked difference in how we felt connected across the globe.
So how connected are you feeling right now?
Oh, I feel much more connected. When we were on the pilgrimages and things, you kind of form your own community. It's like a traveling family reunion or something like that, when you have other people who are collectively on this journey going together. That felt very connected. But then as we've moved away from that, we're in Vietnam now, and we really only have each other to talk to here. So it has just changed so much. Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to connect with you. And
Yeah.
of course, our plan, well, I haven't met you face to face yet. Our plan was to meet up with you in Asia in the second half of March. And of course, that didn't happen. But we've been having conversations, and now I'm getting to know you.
Yes,
lovely.
this has been so wonderful. And we haven't had these kinds of in-depth, thought-provoking conversations with anyone besides each other since we were on these kind of pilgrimages, kind of more spiritual journeys and things like that. So this has been really wonderful. And I kind of feel like I'm diving back into parts of my brain or my life that I haven't really been thinking about so much lately. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome. It's like now, and there's this phrase that people have been using, we're all in this together. And there is an element of that. There's so many ways in which people are challenged by this to different extremes. But, being in this together has brought up for me, some of my clients have been isolated in different ways. One of them had a severe accident and so has been, at home dealing with his health challenges for, quite a period of time. And now everybody else is in isolation. So now they're thinking more about reaching out. How are you going? Because we all know what it feels like now to be in isolation. But we've had so many people in our world who've been feeling isolated the whole time. So I think it's quite exciting to see this renewed focus on connection. And how are we connecting with people in our neighborhood, the old people in our community. And there's so much more looking out for each other and connecting with each other. So I guess your yoga studio and other people in the US will have time to connect with you now because they're not going anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
And again, back to our connection, it's very exciting that you have also contributed some beautiful stories to my next book. So I haven't mentioned that on my podcast yet, but there it is. There is a new book in the works, and there's stories from right around the world coming out very soon. So thank you again for your time, Katie, and I think we'll have to get you back once the book is published and hear more of your stories.
Yes, thank you so much, Carrie. I am looking forward to it.